Our world is changing. Digital transformation is revolutionizing and transforming economies. As data needs evolve, it takes a trusted local partner to manage your data securely, stored in country in real time. At Dataco's globally accredited data center, we connect Papua New Guinea to the digital world. With nationwide coverage, Dataco offers the highest level of data security 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Start your digital transformation journey with a trusted, cost-effective and secured local digital partner. Dataco. Yes, you'll be covered.
Welcome to this video about the Kumul Consolidated Holdings investment portfolio. In this video, we will take a look at three of the company's most significant investments: the Old Port of Port Moresby, Duluth Plantation, and Cape Rodney Estate. Old Port of Port Moresby. The Old Port of Port Moresby is a historic site that has been the main port for the city since the early 1900s. But in 2018, the port was relocated to Mochikea Island to expand and grow the business operations to meet the projected demand. The relocation allowed for the redevelopment of the port precinct area into a mixed use, aligned with National Capital District Commission under the Municipal Authority's Urban Development Plan for an Amazing Port Moresby theme. The current owner of the Old Port, Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited, is considering a number of redevelopment options. These options include redeveloping the port into a commercial and residential area, redeveloping the port into a tourist destination, redeveloping the port into a mixed-use area. Duluth Plantation. Duluth Plantation is a large landholding located along the North Coast Highway, about an hour's drive from Madang Town. It occupies a total area of more than 2,300 hectares and had 6 divisions comprising of Wellog, Duluth, Sakabam or East Sorong, West Sorong, Hanap and Sonkan. Over the years, the estate has embarked on mixed agriculture businesses including fish farming, cattle, coconut and cocoa, and remains as a unique agroforestry rehabilitation project. Most of the undeveloped lands are under virgin or secondary forests and grassland, while the developed lands are under cocoa and coconuts and other cash and food crops. Some of the previously developed lands have been reverted back to secondary forest due to lack of maintenance over the years. Cape Rodney Estate. Cape Rodney Estate is a large landholding located in about District, Central Province, Papua New Guinea. This estate is owned by Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited, the state-owned investment company of Papua New Guinea. The estate includes a rubber factory, 6 vacant agriculture land on 1,089 hectares, and 3 residential land. The rubber factory is currently operational and produces latex for the local market. The vacant agriculture land is suitable for a variety of crops, including rubber, cocoa, and oil palm. The residential land is currently undeveloped. The purpose of Cape Rodney Estate is to accommodate agriculture development embracing nucleus estate model. The nucleus estate model is a type of agricultural development that involves a central processing facility surrounded by a network of smaller farms. This model has been successful in other parts of Papua New Guinea, and it is hoped that it will be successful at Cape Rodney Estate. The Old Port of Port Moresby, Duluth Plantation, and Cape Rodney Estate are all significant investments for Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited. The company is considering a number of redevelopment options for each of these assets, and the future of these investments is uncertain. However, the potential benefits of these investments are significant, and they could have a major impact on the economy of Papua New Guinea. Thank you for watching this video about the Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited investment portfolio. I hope you found this information interesting. For more information, please visit the company's website.
I think you all know by now much about state-owned enterprises in Papua New Guinea, because we are on the front page this morning, and that's on power. We're here to also tell some positive stories about the state of our state-owned enterprises. They are possibly some of the oldest companies that have carried the country through. We operate within the context of a highly dualistic economy. And we are in the very much in the informal sector as well. So we are in commercial, but we also carry large CSO on the balance sheet. So hopefully I excite you about some investment opportunities. So that video actually already summarized my PowerPoint presentation. Once again, apologies from Honorable Minister Duma. Due to parliamentary commitments, he couldn't make it. The presentation will just provide a quick overview of KCH and highlight some high-impact projects and some modalities that we are considering going forward in terms of partnering with the private sector. KCH was established under an Act of Parliament, amended from time to time. One of the more significant amendments was in relation to improvements of corporate governance principles in the Act, and a reinsertion of Section 46B, which used to be under the IPBC Act, or the Independent Public Business Enterprises Act, which has been replaced by Section 46I, which essentially is Section 46B in the previous Act. Section 46B was removed back in 2014, and it is essentially a procurement protection mechanism. And so from 2014 up to almost 2018, country borrowed unrelentlessly through unsolicited borrowings, parking a large debt stock on the balance sheet. So, but we're working to turn that around. It's a general business trust. It's the only business trust that owns the key infrastructure assets booked onto a balance sheet for the country. And that's worth about 13 billion. But if you take off the debt, maybe about 5-6 billion. The trustee is responsible for 10 state-owned enterprises. When I will explain later on that we've now got back Kumul Agriculture Limited, and that excites us because that's a growth potential. The others are really brownfield investments such as power, water. Those are utilities that we have to invest in anyway to provide the enabling environment, improve the locational amenities for investments, for special economic zones, because these things can't happen without locational amenities. For those of you trained in industrial districts in Europe and clustering, those enabling environment are critical to growth in terms of economic modeling. KCH, through its state-owned enterprises, and provide, as I explained earlier on, just the basic utilities. But there are targets in the Papua New Guinea Vision 2050, the Development Strategic Plan 2030, and now the more recent Medium-Term Development Plan number 4 that we have to achieve, but they can't be achieved without the enabling utilities. Our contribution, which has been stagnant for a while, but it's growing slowly, used to be 1.2% to gross domestic product. It's about 1.3%. I believe it's understated, and we undertaking a study to actually fully establish the contribution of state-owned enterprises to gross domestic product. but you will see a corresponding relationship between the growth of the enabling environment and the growth of the manufacturing sector, which has declined from 9% to about 1% of GDP. And I'm sure that affects your businesses and our businesses in the country, so it requires massive investment. We, as I pointed out earlier on, we carry 80% CSOs for water and power. There are only few profitable centers. If we take power, it's only the Port Moresby grid, the Ramu grid, and the Gazelle grid. All the provincial centers, all the sea centers are non-profitable centers. And we're working out an arrangement with government through Department of National Planning, through Treasury, through Finance, so that those costs can be met through the budget. And of course, private sector partnerships is very, very critical, and we're exploring those important different modalities in those areas to take us through. That's just a summary of what I said earlier on. 10 state-owned enterprises, and there's pressure for us to take more, but our position is that we'll only take state equity in those businesses. We're moving away from 100% state ownership. And we're working on strategies to improve the contribution to GDP, to sweat the assets, to improve returns on ROAs, and all the financials that we've actually captured now for the first time in an investment strategy for state-owned enterprises. It's got an investment strategy and clear strategic asset allocation built into the investment strategy so as to guide government's investment. We have some high-impact projects that we're working on. So whilst we're fixing current businesses, focusing on BAU, we're also focusing on some value-adding strategies. The Port Moresby sewerage is complete, and so we want to just connect some of the remaining households because the allotments issued by NCDC is actually growing. And so we want to ensure that that goes forward. The lay wharf is complete. Pump port redevelopment, as you've seen in the video, offers opportunity. We have a Ramu 2 hydro project that's been thought about 10 years back, and is possibly now at the stage where considering issuance of a state guarantee, but within risks. So that risk assessment is currently ongoing. The Gazelle Solar project is an example of a PPP arrangement with the provincial government where we have an MOU, and we've got the Gazelle district, which is partnering with a solar company. And so they partner with the provincial government. PPA then, PPL or PNG Power then issues a power purchasing agreement for solar. And so the only issue we're negotiating now is just ensuring that's an escrow account where the revenue can be parked so to guarantee payment in the event of default to the IPP. Telecom parcel privatization is ongoing. The New Guinea recovery and reflecting strategy is on foot. It's gone past major decision gates. And I don't want to steal the thunder of the CEO ANL. He's going to talk about that. And of course, Bunu Water plus Edavu Hydro. We're looking at Bunu Water to provide extra water sources for Port Moresby because demand has outstripped supply from the Sirinamu Hydro. But we got so much water at Edavu. And on Bunu, it's flat land, so we're just calculating the cost but at Edavu you can capitalize on gravitational pull from the mountains down. PPL recovery is on foot. Major restructure going on as we speak in terms of organizational restructure, in terms of cutting down costs, improving workflow and business processes. And of course, we have agriculture. We're moving into agriculture. We're negotiating on rice and livestock and fisheries as well. These are examples of public-private partnerships that we have. We're, as I said earlier on, looking at different modalities to partner with private sector, franchise, public-private partnership, build, own, operate, and transfer, joint venture, consortia, and so on and so forth. We've taken 20% equity in Ilimo Dairy Farm that provides the whole city. 18.2% equity in BSP, not accounting for the MVIL shares also, that's in BSP. 40% of CPIC Fresh, and PIH, we have about 11.6%, not accounting for the MVIL shares as well. Pomport is an exciting project. Happy for you to talk to our people at the booth. We want to participate in the amazing Port Moresby program. This is a mixed use of commercial and residential investment opportunities. Dilup is a large plantation out of Medang. We engaged Cora, it's an American agricultural company, to develop a business plan. And with that business plan, we're going to go back to market, and you can bid for the opportunity to partner or invest in the Dilup plantation. It's good for rubber plantation factory as well as potential hemp, which is medicinal medicine. That's under consideration. It's actually listed in the MTDP4 as well. So, but we just need to align regulatory mechanisms around health, narcotics, and so on and so forth. We have a new exciting project, which is the Papua New Guinea National Banking Corporation. We're in the process of applying for a banking license from Central Bank. It's built on the back of a bank. We're already a bank. We're actually not starting fresh. So just to let you know that we already are a running bank. And we've appointed Sir Robin Fleming as the chairman. He's happily taken over and started working already. The core banking system evaluation is in process. I think that's the end of my presentation. I'd like to just say that there are investment opportunities that's never been available before. There are assets there that you can partner with KCH to take it to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I can take a couple of questions. Yeah. Thank you very much, David. Now, as you can see, there's an awful lot of variety in KCH's portfolio. Just a couple of questions, if you wouldn't mind, David. I guess the first one would be about PNG Power particularly. You mentioned in your presentation about the recovery plan for PNG Power. As Justin presented at the beginning of the day, the reliability of PNG's utilities is such a critical business concern at the moment. Perhaps you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit more detail about the plan for recovery of PNG Power and getting the state utility in a position where it can meet its obligations, not just the community into power supply, but also to make sure that it can meet its obligations financially as well.
So thank you. The strategy there is to firstly cut costs at Hoala, which is the headquarters of PPL. cut down the number of costs because they have about almost 2,800 staff. Staff on strength is about 1,500, 600. And so we aggressively are taking the cost line. Number two is ensuring grid stability. So going out to condition the grid, because the grid was built in the 50s and the 60s. So they've never been modernized, but you have 3 or 4 big trucks running on the grid now. It's like your old two-lane road, one up, one down. But you have New Power, you have Dirio, and now you're going to have Edavu. They actually don't offer solutions. They provide the solutions to power generation, but not grid stability. So the state has to invest on the grid. And that's important. It's developmental. It's a developmental infrastructure. You are investing through transfer payments from the state and subsidies as well through the budget. So for now, they can only be sustained to that extent because the community out there is actually not yet able to pay, but you got to connect, you got to build modern homes, you got to connect to the homes, and you got to install the meters, and so grid stability is very important. That's what we aggressively are taking in Port Moresby. So, and then move on to Lae. But firstly, we want to eliminate blackouts in Port Moresby. Then we move to Lae, just a Ramo grid, and then the Gazelle grid is a working grid. It just needs to be supported through sustainable power sources. So that's hence the solar project in Gazelle, just to support the hydro. That's producing about 9 megs. Solar will generate another 5 megs. And of course, grid stability is very important. So, and then of course, investing on growth in the provincial centers going into the future. But our focus is to focus on the commercial businesses, the commercial centers where we're making money from, in order to continue to cross-subsidize, but also go back to the state to say, hey, you got to help us with the districts and the province, because they've also grown. There's more districts, more provinces as well.
So would you anticipate the state needing to contribute directly to the running of the company, or do you think it's going to be able to self-finance?
Self-finance, we are considering with different modalities with the IFC, with DFAT through AIFFP, and through the Asian Development Bank as well. So we'll try and consider modalities which help to carry and help private sector participate as well. So.
There's a program that KCH is currently running, supported by the Asian Development Bank, for the reform of state-owned enterprises. We could probably have an entire morning on what reform of state-owned enterprises means. But you mentioned in your presentation about the partial privatisation of telecom as being an intention moving forward. Do you see additional opportunities in your portfolio to actually have private sector ownership of part of state-owned enterprises?
Yes, telecom, and then you have the PMBL, People's Microbank, that the state will sell down. Once we get the core banking system in, we move towards an IPO stage. The state will sell down. We're looking at data core as well, other modalities as well. So that's the direction. You got to win the intellectual debate, yeah? So, and go back and understand the initial the rationale for the establishment of the IPBC. So that's what I'm saying to government, that we've got to go back to the original intent, which was to prep up for privatization. So
where there's a gap in the market, the government fills it, and when the market is able to take over, the market participates.
Strictly public goods.
Yeah. Okay. And just one final question about the PNG Ports program. We have a major investment from the Australian Infrastructure Finance Facility for the Pacific in supporting PNG Ports expansion. What is the progress with that particular program?
So that's on track.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on track, very much on track. Procurement is in progress with ports procurement processes and AIFFP procurement processes. We were working towards forming up the leadership at ports with that of late Fego, so that's on track as well.
Thanks.